In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to weave in a new color of scrap yarn in your knitting as you are working on your Stash Dive Raglan. And with this particular technique, this will allow you to knit in the ends as you go. That way you don't have to weave them in when you're done. So right now what I've got going here is my working yarn. I've got my worsted weight yarn, and then I've got the color that I've been working with that I'm ready to switch out. So these are my old, what I call my old color right here, this little fingering weight yarn. And I want to add in this color. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. This is my new yarn. Now the first thing that we have got to do is we've got to lay the new yarn over the working yarn. That's it. We just kind of flop it over there like that. And then we're going to knit a stitch. And what we've done is we've kind of trapped it back there. You can kind of see how it's kind of already trapped in that stitch. So now what we do is we take the new yarn and we wrap it around the finger of our index finger of our left hand, like that. And then we've got our old yarn in our right hand. So now what we want to do is we want to catch it. So you insert your needle into your next stitch as if to knit. Then you're just going to bring that new yarn and just rest it on top of the needle like that. And then you're just going to knit a stitch like normal. And see from behind, we've caught it in our stitch, but you can't really see it from the front. The next stitch, we don't put it over the needle. We just knit like normally. And then the third stitch, put it over the needle. So you're only putting it over your needle every other stitch. That. And I do this about 5 or 6 times. And again, we're just putting it over the needle every other stitch, like so, and catch it. All right, so now I've done, several stitches. It's pretty well caught, as you can see. If you look at the back of the work, kind of hard, it wants to curl. But if you look at the back of the work, that new color is woven in. We don't really have to do anything except snip off this excess when we're kind of ready. So now you're ready to switch to working with the new color, but you still have to weave in the old color that you were working with. So we just kind of switch them out. Just kind of undo the old one from my worsted weight strand, pull it over here, and then I've got my new one ready to go. And it's the same thing. We're going to weave in the old one, put it over the needle, knit like normal, put it over the needle, knit like normal. Again, do that for, 5 or 6 stitches, just to make sure it's really good and woven in there. And I can't remember if sometimes I forget if I've put it up over the stitch. Okay. All right, now that I've done that a few times, the old one is woven in, and I would just snip it off and keep going with my new color. However, sometimes when I'm working a row, I only want a color to be in for maybe just a few stitches. Like you can see this red here. I've only got it in there for maybe 8 or 9 stitches. I don't want to cut off my old color if I only plan on using the new color for a line or so. Some of my lines might just be 10 or 15 stitches. I might do a line of 20 or 30 stitches, but I know I'm not going to continue with the new color for more than 1 round or 2 rounds, and that I'm going to go back to the old color. It's just putting a little line of color in the existing color that I'm already working with. In that case, I would not snip off the old end. If I only plan on doing 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 stitches, then I'm just going to keep weaving that old color in at the back of my work. You don't have to do it every other stitch though, if that's what you're doing. All you have to do is just catch it every 3rd or 4th stitch. So I just might knit with the new color. There's 3 stitches, and then go ahead and catch that old one back there. It's like catching floats if you're doing stranded colorwork knitting. Knit 3 stitches and then catch that old one. So then when I'm done with my little color pop, my little line of color, I would weave in the end of that. I'd switch them out again. I would bring my old color back, and then I would weave this in like I just showed you for 5 or 6 stitches, and then snip it. And I explain all that too in the written tutorial that was included with the pattern. The video is really just kind of showing you how to weave those in as you go. But I hope that was helpful. And as you can see, if I can get all this yarn out of the way, on the back, we've got a couple of places where, you know, we wove in those ends, and I would just take my little snips here and snip that off, and not too short, not too close. And you want to give it a good tug, but not too tight, because you don't want it to pucker. Just kind of give it a little tug and a little snip, and it's woven in. You don't have to go back and do it after you're done. So it's a pretty easy technique, and it's super helpful. Oops, just lost a few stitches off the end there. Luckily, this is just a scrap piece. Anyway, so that's it.